Hello everyone, and welcome to this session. My name is Alessio Greggi and I work as a DevOps engineer at Plastics. You can find me on GitHub as Allegray91, and today we are going to talk about Capsule, which is the main product of Plastics and its integration with Charmed Kubernetes, which, as we will see later, is the Canonical Kubernetes distribution. Especially, we will describe how it's possible to integrate a Kubernetes operator in the Canonical distribution using the charms. Charms are packaged operators that are managed by a charmed utility. And in the end, we will see a little demo about the Capsule charm installation and how to manage it. So let's start talking about Capsule. What is Capsule? As you can see, we listed some of the most important topics that Capsule covers. First of all, we should mention that Capsule is primarily a Kubernetes native operator. Kubernetes native operator means that it works as an extension of Kubernetes. So it makes use of custom resources to manage applications and their components. In our case, we are not facing with a third-party application, but with the Kubernetes internal themselves. What this operator was made for? It is essentially a multi-tenancy and policy-based framework. What it does is to create an abstraction on Kubernetes that is called tenant, which groups namespace together to give the user the freedom to have its own space to work. But at the same time, it allows you to create the cluster with other users. To share the cluster with other users. Additionally, the cluster admin can create some rules that the tenants need to comply. So, with Capsule, you can host multiple users or organization or teams, applying rules for each of them. The second point is focused on the cluster sprawl. As companies and their teams grow, it is common to have to manage many different clusters. This leads to high management costs for different clusters. So Capsule essentially prevents this thing, allowing the cluster administrator to manage just one cluster, sharing this with multiple teams or groups of users or department. Then for the governance, it leverages Kubernetes admission controllers to enforce the industry security best practice and meet policy requirements. In the end, it is also GitOps ready because it is completely declarative. Let's see an example of a tenant CRD. I'm now a cluster administrator. So as you can see in the metadata, we are specifying the tenant name. Then into the spec branch, we can specify many attributes. As you can see in the example, we specified the tenant owners, but we can also define a namespace quota to limit the namespace creation by the users, or set a resource quota, or assign node pools, or even cordon a tenant. So the cluster admin has the power to manage all these options. For example, here you can see the high-level Capsule architecture. On top of Kubernetes, the user's requests are sorted into the right tenant namespace. Capsule provides this abstraction that is managed by custom resource definition, as said, that is named tenant. So now we got a brief overview of what Capsule is. Let's now talk about charms. we can think to charms as packages for the Charmed Kubernetes distribution. As we can as we can install packages in our favorite distribution with a relative package manager, here we can install charms using Juju. So charms are artifacts for Kubernetes, but also for Linux, that are manageable by Juju. So Juju is an application modeling tool that is focused on reducing the operation overhead of software by facilitating deployment, configuration, integration, and performing operational tasks. What are charm practically? We can define them as a packaged operation code. A charm essentially wraps the application that you want to install to provide an easy-to-use interface to manage it through Juju. So as I described, it is really intuitive and easy to use. Also, Canonical provides a nice hub to check the available applications and easily download them. And it is called Charmhub. Here you can find also our Capsule charm at the website charmhub.io/capsule-k8s. Here you can find also information about how to install it and how to configure the Capsule resources. Especially here are listed all the parameters that are configurable. So we finally arrived to the demo session, so let's play the demo and comment on it. Okay, so let's assume that we already have a ready-to-use Kubernetes Charmed Kubernetes distribution. So the first thing to do to deploy our charm is to create its workspace. So Juju called the workspace as a model that is the equivalent for a namespace in Kubernetes. So let's create the model. Okay, and we are going to call our module Capsule system. Okay, so now the model has been created, and we should see here the model operator pod. So if the model has been correctly created, this pod should appear inside the namespace. So as next step, we can deploy the Capsule charm operator. So we can give the right command using juju deploy --trust to give to the charm the right privileges and the charm name, so capsule-k8s. At this point we should wait some minutes before the charm will be ready, so let's wait. Okay, so now the Capsule charm has been correctly deployed. You can check the readiness and the status here, but also you can check using Juju status because the workload now is active and the agent is in idle mode. So before to continue, we can check if the custom resource definition for Capsule has been deployed. So let's check the Capsule configurations. So So get capsule configuration. Okay, so the capsule configuration has been deployed. We can take a deep look here. Okay, so we can now use the Juju utility to manage these parameters. So let's check for the capsule configuration here and what we want to do now. So now with Juju we want to set these parameters, specifically the force tenant prefix and the user groups. So what will happen? Juju will contact the model operator, and the charm will trigger this information and will change these parameters for us. So using Juju we can type the command juju config capsule-k8s, which is the charm name, and then we can type the parameter that we want to change. So now we want to set the force tenant prefix equal to true, because now it is false, and here we will see the change that will happen. So let's type. Okay, and here we will see the change. Okay, here's the change. Okay, so now we want to see also another configuration that is for the user groups. This is a list of capable users of capable groups that the capsule configuration can have. So in this case we just have capsule.classics.io, but we want to add also another one. Here it is, and in this case is a system service account default. So let's give the command, and we should see this entry appearing here. Here it is. Okay, so Juju done its work. So the last thing that we can do is to create a tenant. So kubectl apply create -f tenant, but let's see the tenant before. So we are creating tenant with the name oil, and its owners will be Alice, and the namespace quota will be equal to 3. So what does it mean? It means that the users inside the oil tenant can create at least 3 namespaces. So let's give the command. Okay, the oil tenant has been created, so we can check this thing now. Get TNT. Here it is. So the demo is finished, and we really hope you enjoyed the demo, and of course enjoy the KubeCon.